Whitman bringing you the weather. Let me tell you, I'm happy to say there's nothing but blue skies coming your way. There's nothing but blue skies coming your way. I'm happy to say there's nothing but blue skies coming your way. Blue skies coming your way. Blue skies coming your way. This is weather. Weather. This is weather. Weather. This is weather. Weather. This is weather. Weather. This is Dick Whitman bringing you the weather.
At the dough. At the dough. At the dough. Always stacking bread. Always stacking bread. Always stacking bread. Always stacking bread.
This is Dick Whitman bringing you the weather. This is Dick Whitman bringing you the weather. And let me tell you, I'm happy to say there's nothing but blue skies coming your way. Blue skies. Blue skies. Blue skies coming your way. Coming your way.
It is Saturday, February 22nd, and you are watching You Don't Watch Sports right here on the Feo Grande YouTube network. I am Bill Smith, and I am joined, as always, by the man, the myth, the legend, Feo Grande himself, Omari Ellis. Omari, how was your sports week?
You know, it was a good one. You know, some sad news, but overall, solid sports week. You know, we'll get into it. Looking forward to talking about it.
Wonderful. Yes, we will talk about it because we cover 3 topics here on You Don't Watch Sports, just to sprinkle a little sports information into your casual conversation as we are the guiding light through the sea that is sports talk. Topic number 1, Omari, we have the MLB season starting to boil around the corner. Spring training has started, and I want to run through just a few things, maybe recap the winter for us and get going on the season to come. Now, first of all, let's go through the winter. Of course, the big things were Juan Soto signing for $765 million to the New York Mets. You had Max Fried going to the Yankees. Corbin Burns re-signing for $210 million. Willie Adames going to the Giants. Blake Snell to the Dodgers. All kinds of interesting moves, as well as Roki Sasaki going to the Dodgers. As far as things not happening, Omari, we had our St. Louis Cardinals team here, who has not done anything this winter because they have been locked up in an attempt to trade Nolan Arenado, their franchise third baseman that they received from the Colorado Rockies several years ago. Arenado is not incredibly thrilled with the status of the team. Hey, no one is. So they're interested in a parting of ways, but they've attempted a couple of deals with a few different teams, and just nothing has solidified. So right now the Cardinals are just in a stalemate. looking
And
to trade Arenado with no one on the hook.
and with them looking to trade him, that he's even less motivated to actually play for the team. Because
It's a tough one. There
the
have been
bridges.
strong rumors towards Houston, but Nolan Arenado has a full no trade clause, and he has provided a list of teams, and apparently Houston is not one of them. So that trade was shut down, as well as attempting to work out a trade between the St. Louis Cardinals and the Boston Red Sox, and it just never fully solidified. Thus, Nolan Arenado has started camp with the St. Louis Cardinals, hoping to turn the page, but that's going to be an ongoing issue throughout the season of will he be traded, will he won't, at what point. As well as that, another interesting thing that's happened recently in spring training, the New York Yankees, Omari, have had a long-standing rule since the creation of the baseball club. Do you know what that rule is? It involves the
Spend
appearance
all the money
of
that's
players.
possible to get them. Oh no, they gotta wear pinstripes.
Well, I mean, yes, that's always that's been an iconic part of their uniform for a
When
majority,
you
if
said
not
appearance,
all
I
of
was
their.
just like,
Right. It involves their grooming.
clean
They have
shaven.
never they've majority of the club's career have required them to be clean shaven. At some point, they instituted a mustache allowance, but it had to be it had to be well groomed. A well groomed mustache was allowed. But the New York Yankees announced the other day that it is a dawning of a new era, even for a franchise as classic as the New York Yankees, and they will be loosening those restrictions after speaking with current players, former players, as well as prominent members of the fan base. They have decided to loosen those restrictions to where players can now kind of do a little bit more of what they want with their facial hair.
I think it's a stupid rule, but I kind of like that they had it. Does that make sense? It's
Yeah, it makes them
all
different.
It's the team's identity. When you come here, the Yankee way is to be clean shaven. We don't have nothing like that. Because when you mentioned it, I started to think about Yankees. The second you said something about their grooming, I'm like, yeah, I don't think I can think of any Yankee coming to my head that had like a beard or something. They're usually just as clean shaven as possible.
Yeah, and if it's a mustache, it's like a very basic, your ordinary boom ending at the corner of the lip, standard mustache. But yeah, they're keeping it a little flexible. Apparently, in the rule book, it does say that it now says that they still ask for it to be a groomed look.
Well, yes, you can't be savages.
They don't want you out there in wild man, caveman, Grizzly Adams kind of beard. So we'll keep an eye on that. But just an interesting note, just such a long term. It was always a topic of conversation whenever a free agent or a trade happened, there have been times where there are people who have been sent to the Yankees who are iconic for the facial hair that they wear, and they have to shave them. One of the more recent that sticks out in my mind is a gentleman named Rofind Odor. Had an extremely strong, big beard, and then he got traded to the Yankees, and all of a sudden we all found out that the man had no chin.
Damn.
That's why dudes have beards. Finally, for our MLB roundup, I wanted to talk about something that's going on personally. For the first time in my life, 11 years ago, I moved in with a gentleman, had a roommate out in South City, St. Louis, who had just started a fantasy baseball team. He joined a fantasy baseball league online. With a group of guys, and from that moment forward, for 11 years straight, that same guy has asked me to join his fantasy baseball league. And I have forever shut him down until this year, where I will be
Ooh.
joining the Fantasy Baseball League. So I will be taking everyone here along in my journey. I'm brand new to it. I'm fresh to it. Anybody who happens to watch this and has some tips, feel free to send them my way. I know I'm looking for the premium positions of like first base, shortstop. I want to get some big daddy in my outfield, even though I'm going to need many outfielders by the end of the team. I want at least one incredibly strong point guy. Pitchers is where it starts to get complicated for me. Even with baseball and as hardcore as I am, I still end up becoming casual at a certain line in the sand. So, yeah, I'll be our draft is in a couple of weeks, and I'll be documenting along with you guys here my journey in that.
That's cool. That sounds like fantasy. I've done fantasy football a few times now, throughout the years. You can't see it because room's blurred behind me, but I actually won 1 year in fantasy football. But I haven't tried it in any other sports because there's so many fucking games. I don't know, especially baseball. Like, I don't know if I can just 162 times hear people
Yeah,
like, let me
it's
take my team.
still weak. It's weak matchups.
Okay.
So you take the cumulative points over the games that you played in that week.
Okay, that makes it a
Because
lot
when it
more
averages
manageable.
out, basically every team plays about the same. Every team plays about 5 games a week, roughly. Occasionally, that's going to be a little different depending on the season.
Which
But
also
yeah,
will play into who you start this week and next week. Like, oh, they've only got 3 games this week. I don't think he's
yeah, weird
doing
week
that
on their
well.
schedule. I gotta decide if I actually want to start them or not. Yeah, that kind of stuff will come into play. But other than that, it's probably very similar to what you're used to on football, where it's head-to-head matchups each week, and it's just the cumulative of the week's games. But then instead of doing it 16 times, we're going to have to do it how 30, I don't know, 30 something
It's still
times.
about twice as many times,
Yeah.
but it's a lot more manageable in the sense that
It's
you're
not
still doing it.
162.
Yeah, you're still doing it once a week. You just have to do a lot more studying because of that whole 5 games cumulative.
Right.
Like, if you're getting super serious about it.
Yeah,
could do
yeah. I
it.
mean, maybe I got a guy and I'm looking at their schedule ahead of time, and it's like, oh man, they are if schedules are set and rotations don't alter, they're about ready to face 3 really strong pitchers in a row. Maybe I don't start them this week.
Yeah. Or you could do what Super Jazz did the very first, not the season I won, but the very first fantasy season my friends and I did. We needed an 8th person to make it 8 teams. Super Jazz is like, I don't pay enough attention to football, so I'll join. He meant to draft a team, but for whatever reason, he couldn't. So he auto drafted his team, and he also didn't touch it all season. He got 2nd place. He just auto drafted and just let the team go. And I'm like, how the hell?
Yep.
Fantasy.
That was finally what I had to declare before I accepted. I was like, now before I accept this, I need you to be okay with the fact that I could stop at any moment. That I could care 100% or I could care 1%. And I need you to be okay with either of those possibilities happening. And he's like, that's fine. I was like, all right, I'm in.
Yeah. Want you to at least try it.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see how things go. I'll keep you guys updated. Topic number 2, Omar. We got the NBA All-Star Weekend happened last week.
All-Star Week.
Run us through it. What happened?
Right. So one of the main things people are talking about is the big game itself, where they did not necessarily like the new format of the 4 teams, and
We went big into the new format
big
last week. Yeah,
games.
it's different.
Yeah, it sounded weird and different, and the execution was still about what people have been come to expect of the All-Star game. Not a lot of super try-harding. The young people that what we wanted to be the final round was the first round, pretty much, with the youngs versus the old team. The old team, as we thought, team with like 8 Hall of Famers on it, won the All-Star game weekend with that. LeBron sat with an injury.
Yep.
Meanwhile,
A lot of talk about the really awkward moment where they had Kevin Hart come out
Yeah.
and start like doing roast jokes on the players, and yeah, very visibly a few players not thrilled about it.
Yeah,
It
it's
was
like, what
it
the
was
hell?
it was awkward to be on national live TV.
Yeah, it's All-Star weekend, not Kevin Hart weekend, but they're slowly making it more and more Kevin Hart weekend over the years. Meanwhile, dunk contest, three-peated Matt McClung of the Orlando Magic, apparently, three-peated hit this year, winning with dunks over a car. You know, we've seen that before. He did a dunk over a dude who was spinning on one of those like surf hoverboard things. He was spinning on that, holding a ball, while another guy was on a ladder holding the ball over the hoop. So he jumped, grabbed the ball out of the spinning guy's hand, grabbed the ball of the dude holding the ball, dunk. That was one of them. So that was pretty cool. And then he had a dunk where it was a guy, they were like, why don't you dunk over Wembanyama if you're just going to pick a tall dude? Impress us. But Wemby was like sitting on the sidelines. I guess they assumed he probably didn't want to. But he took said tall dude, and before they got ready to start, he's like, wait a second. And they brought out a little platform for him to stand on and thus be taller. And this dude not only dunked over the tall dude, I'm sorry, I don't remember tall dude's name, but he not only dunked over him, but he took the ball, looked dead at the hoop, purposely tapped it with the ball, and then dunked it all in one motion. So it's like, boop, boop. And so that was pretty much what won it for him. Stefan Castle, I believe, was the other guy. He had some sick dunks too, like a behind the back, like spinning dunk thing and everything else. I would have been fine with whoever won that. But yeah, Matt McClung. There were some tweets from Giannis and other people talking about, yeah, next year we're entering this shit. We can't keep having, Matt McClung win these things. But Giannis allegedly came out later and was like, yeah, my Twitter is hacked. I'm not doing no dunk contest next year. 3-point contest. I had Damian Lillard going to win that. He did not. Instead, it was Tyler, I Need a Hero, that came through winning that. And, good stuff to him. Skills challenge. Didn't watch a lot of it, but I heard the main story of that. Like Donovan Mitchell and Evan Mobley won. But the highlight of the skills challenge, because if you remember the skills challenge in NBA, you got to do like a bounce pass, a chest pass, some like 5 shots, some weaving, and some other stuff, and you score points in time or whatever. Well, and you get like 5 shots, like then you got to take like twice. Well, Wemby and Chris Paul had an idea. I'm assuming this came from Chris Paul, a veteran that he is to the skills challenge.
It seemed like a Chris Paul move.
He went out there and he decided the points don't matter. It doesn't matter if you make the shots. All they care about is time. So he just went out there. He did the pass, and then when he got to the hoop, just emptied the rack straight to the floor and then ran and finished. And then Wemby did the same thing. And everybody's like, what the hell? And then the refs come over and disqualify him, which some people are like, everybody thinks it's funny that he did it, but they felt like the NBA treated it a little too seriously when they disqualified him. They could have still disqualified him, but they could have made a bit out of it, like, oh, come on, we did it. You know what I mean? They could have had more fun with it. But they treated it like it was really serious. How dare you sanctify the skills challenge?
It's weird because it's like microscope, very funny, very interesting. I like the mind that would go there to do that, but also then big picture, it's a little bit of like, what are we doing, guys? Well, again, like with the Kevin Hart roast, like this isn't an NBA retreat for you all to goof around and have. We're also doing national television here. This is a
Yeah.
this is a
Can we at
product
least
for us all to
try
watch.
treat this with
There's
some
there's a few
seriousness?
thousand people in this arena here to see basically the dunk contest, the 3-point contest, and this. Like it's just a little odd.
Yeah, so I get it, but it's a fun story to talk about and,
Yeah.
reference years from now when these guys try to cheat the system. However, where there's levity, there must also be sadness because that's just how the world works. Unfortunately, we got some bad news about Wembanyama, our guy. He's out for the rest of the season. Deep vein thrombosis in the shoulder, aka blood clots. Blood clots is highly oversimplifying it, but that's pretty much, you either say the deep vein thrombosis or you say blood clots. Bottom line is it's serious. It's an injury that took out Chris Bosh, but the difference between the two of them is Chris Bosh was 32, while I'm not even sure Wembanyama's 23.
Yeah, he's in his rookie year, right?
No, second.
Second year. Last year was his rookie, yeah.
Yes, and there is some good news despite the Bosch thing. At least three other people have gotten it. Brandon Ingram, Oscar Thompson, and Christian Kalanko all suffered from it. However, unlike Bosch, they all came back into the NBA and are currently thriving. So there's still hope because he is young. However, I was talking.
Do
with
we
a friend-
know the locations of any of these?
I do not off the top of my head.
Okay.
But a thing
His
that
shoulder
someone else pointed
seems-
out. Shoulder seems crazy because
Yeah.
it allegedly has to do with like if you sit or inactivity and stuff with it. So it's usually I think in the legs, but he's a basketball player. There's no inactivity in the shoulders. He's a shooter. So that's what scares me about it. Also, what scares me, or something, or not scares me, let's be optimistic. But another point worth mentioning is that Bosch and Wemby are significantly taller than these other people that got it. So, still hoping for the best. The dude was literally set to be the next face of the NBA. Freaking one of the other young guns that everybody's trying to make the face. I don't know if it was Ant or Cat or somebody like that was like, oh, I don't want to be the face of the NBA. That's already set for Wemby type shit. So that was over All-Star Weekend that they're saying this. They're like, oh no, he's the next face of the NBA. That's that guy. So I'm hoping it still happens and that he can bounce back for this. Always want to be optimistic. Let's go, Wemby. But that's the NBA
Alrighty.
going on.
Turning the page on that, completely no segue capable. Omari, the motherfucking Rock came back again to WWE last night, and I feel like we have to talk about it because it was nonsense. I don't like what was going on there. What was going on there, my man?
Well, you see, Cody's been a good champion since winning last year. He's been a great champion. And, the Rocks come to respect him. They become friends. Their moms know each other. Their moms are friends. They drink Terramana together. They've had really good times. But The Rock wants Cody to be his champion because their dads were friends and their moms know each other and they drink Terramana that one time. And so, and repeat this like 8 times before getting to the point where it's like, I don't want to be champion, and what I want is a brother. What I want is that. What, my championship? No, I don't want your championship. I want that. I want, our moms are friends. Our dads were friends. We're like brothers. We drank Terramana together. I want your soul. Cody.
It's so cringy. It's so cringy to get through. And it doesn't Like it doesn't have the built-in story that he came into and that was generated for him by us last year. And so the object of this promo was to instill whatever story they are fucking going with now.
Well,
And
the previous story was finished,
to
so
live
we
in a
gotta start a new
world
one.
to live in a world where The Rock cannot do a wrestling promo is insane. It's insane. He was on the show that was named after a wrestling promo of his. And we live in a world where The Rock cannot fucking put a coherent thought, A, B, C, D, end, on a microphone anymore. It's crazy.
Yeah, it was not good. And then he comes out, he's like, "Look, not everything has to culminate in the match, okay? Sometimes it's about the story. Just shut up and enjoy the ride." And yeah, like you mentioned it all when we were talking about it before, he has his moments where someone in the crowd will yell something and he'll like have one of those random Rock moments where he's like, "Shut up, I'll zap the slipperless off your face," and blah 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 blah.
Yeah.
Like, he does just enough to fool you if you still have on the rose tinted glasses, to borrow one of your phrases. If you still have those on, he does just enough to fool you to thinking it's still there. Also, it's The Rock, who for whatever reason is Teflon, can do no wrong. I don't know how many bad movies you gotta make before you start losing money, but The Rock ain't made enough of them yet.
Yeah, I mean, it's just the built-in aura of like that crowd pop when his music hits never diminishes.
Never.
No matter how many of this awkward things happen.
Yeah.
If you bought tickets to see a random SmackDown in New Orleans, and then the day before that you open up your phone and see all these social media posts about how The Rock is going to be appearing on SmackDown tomorrow, you are pumped.
Yeah, I'm not
You're
gonna
hyped.
lie. We're sitting here complaining about it, but me personally, I'm still popping every time I hear the music and see it go on screen.
It's
crazy.
like you said, it's amazing that it's Teflon. But yeah, I mean, clearly they are the goal is, I think, my interpretation of last night is that The Rock does not know when he's going to wrestle again, and he wants to be present in the storyline despite that. So they are trying to build a authority figure angle from afar thing, and either Cody will turn and become the bad guy and be The Rock's champion as requested, or that will be Cody's story Mania forward is denying The Rock's request.
And having to deal with the fact that The Rock is doing everything in his power to bring him down, since he turned him down.
That's
And Mania could be the decision.
That's what I
Whatever
think
match
was
he
supposed
has.
to get brought across last night. But yeah, I think The Rock is a script actor now, and the way wrestlers have talked about the Triple H era is they're backing away from the scripted promos, and they're handing bullet points, and especially probably Rock, an egomaniacal person on that regard, probably thinks that he can do no wrong. And so they meet up, they exchange bullet points. All right, here's what we want to cover. Go out there, Rocky, do your thing. Electrify. And then, Rock goes out there and he has those bullet points in his head. And those are those things that, like, all right, mom Moms are friends.
Yeah, moms are
We drank
friends.
Terramana.
Our dads are friends.
Oh yeah, like come on, Rock. Remember, like after the Mania, you and Cody became friends. I mean, hell, even your moms became friends. You drank Terramana at the Moana 2 premiere. You met up at Netflix and drank Terramana and we're friends. And now you are asking Cody to be your champion because we're gonna run an authority angle. All right, yeah, I can do that. Yeah, all right, let's go sell this. Boom, break, and then he just goes out there, and it's just that's what he's got.
Ritz. Okay. Then he had a music that when I first saw it, because I saw it as a clip on Twitter first, and then I later saw it. His music came out. At first, I thought it was bad, but listening to it again, it's okay. They were in New Orleans, and since the Super Bowl didn't want him, I guess they decided next best thing, do it on an episode of SmackDown with The Rock coming out. You have the
Wayne,
Rock's,
known friend of the company.
yeah, you had The Rock's theme mixed with Lil Wayne's to come out, but only for the start. And then once he gets to walking, it's back to just regular Rock theme. And so that was interesting, but it worked for what it was. When on re-listen, when I wasn't like out in public,
Right.
But the first time I was like, "What the death?" I'm like, "Did that?" What the people call
I was in the same boat. I was
get to The Rock.
I think I was shocked too much at wait, what are they doing?
Yeah,
This isn't the Rock's theme. What? Wait. And then you got the loud cheer and obviously and stuff. You're too caught up to be like, oh, it's a remix of The Block is Hot. Yeah, I'm curious if it's literally just a one-off for New Orleans or if that's going to be his theme for a second. Yeah. Well,
like
apparently we're gonna
WrestleMania
find out.
season.
Apparently we're gonna find out at Elimination Chamber what is going on. If I was WWE, I would put Cody out in the ring to do a promo on Raw, knowing that The Rock is not in that city. To kind of like, I was shocked they didn't immediately throw like what's her name? No, Kayla Braxton is gone, but whoever's doing that role on SmackDown right now, I'm shocked there wasn't a like
Backstage.
Cody, do you have a second? What was that?
What do you
So
make of
Cody
that?
could kind of like, all right, so what I think that was.
Yeah, like I'm not exactly sure, but what I can think is, blah, 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 blah. And it's like, yeah, I'm Cody Rhodes. My
Yeah,
dad
I
was
think
Dusty Rhodes.
I think in WWE canon we need a recap and recontextualizing of what the hell that was before we meet up again at Elimination Chamber.
I agree.
Just my thoughts.
I agree. I feel like the decision will be made because I like your Mania forward idea with this. So I think the decision will be made at Mania on some Stone Cold versus The Rock WrestleMania X7 shit, where Vince comes down with the chair. Stone Cold takes it, shakes hands with Satan himself, drinking beers with Satan himself. Things will never be the same. Although this time, your Stone Cold equivalent says no. And it begins his anti-authority run.
All right. We will talk about who is potentially on that mat ready to take a chair from Cody Rhodes next week on You Don't Watch Sports as we prepare for the Elimination Chamber that's happening next Saturday. If you want to see us talk about other wrestling stuff, on Mondays we have Mock Draft that's kind of just become our wrestling show at this point, centered around our fantasy league where we draft wrestlers and earn points on their wins and losses in TV and pay-per-views. We also have You Don't Watch Sports, which is the show you're watching right now. We also have This Guy Hasn't Seen on Tuesdays, where we share media back and forth. One guy has seen, the other guy hasn't. Usually movies, TV shows. It's like a book club, but for visual media. And it's pretty cool. You should start it with a friend of yours. On Wednesdays or whenever they want, we have Whatever We Want with friend of the show, Super Jazz,
Super Jazz.
as nature intended. Omari, where else can they find you on the internet?
You can also find me on Twitter and Twitch at Giotavi. That is Giotavi. Come on in. Stop on by. Streaming Earth Day 240. We're about 140 days in. playing fighting games and stuff. Come on, you know what that means. We'll see you though. Thank you guys so much for watching. You got anything else you want to say, folks?
Shout out to Big Bro Ibn.
Shout out to Big Bro Ibn.
Got to get him back on a mock draft, maybe a tier list or a Sporkle or something like that.
Agreed.
Check out Mondays on mock draft.
See you then on that show. You guys have a good one. Adios.